Hi guys, and welcome back to another snapshot video. Today is my first snapshot video of 1.13, the Aquatic update, and I've been so excited for this. And now it's finally out, and I've been trying out some of the new things, and it looks absolutely awesome. I can't wait for some more things to come out, but I'm going to go through this. This is snapshot 18W07A, and I'm going to go through some of the things that was added. It's actually quite a large snapshot this time. So let's start over here. We're going to go through the list as it was posted on Minecraft's website, and then we'll go through all the different things in each of these categories. So the first one is phantoms. That is these guys. Now they're not attacking me at the minute because I'm in creative mode. These guys are the mob that was voted for at Minecon, and they are flying mobs that spawn in the overworld and in the end, and they attack players who haven't slept in a while. Now it does say they attack in groups of 3 or 4. So I've just spawned in a couple at the minute, and they do drop leather at the minute, which I've not tested, but there we go. They drop leather at the minute, but it does say that this may change in a future snapshot. Now the next thing they've added is turtles. How cute are these little guys? So turtles spawn on warm beaches, but it does say this is temporary, so they're probably going to change where these things spawn. And they will lay eggs on their home beach, so wherever they spawn they will lay eggs. And you can see down here we have our tiny little turtles, little mini baby turtles, which are absolutely adorable. And they do drop well, you can craft pieces of the old shell. I don't know whether they drop shell when you kill them or if they just drop it randomly. So let's try kill one of these guys and see if it drops anything. They actually have quite a lot of HP. Okay, so they drop seagrass when you kill them. So maybe at some point they will drop their own old shell and grow a new one. I'm not quite sure. I haven't seen anything happen yet, but they can drop pieces of their old shell, which you can then craft together, combine together into one big shell, which you can wear on your head. You can also use it to craft into a potion as well. So that is the turtle. So the next ability we need to come down here. Let's take a night vision potion so we can actually see under here. Now the next addition to this snapshot is the ability to run underwater. So we all know our usual walking underwater like this. This is how we get around underwater. Now we have the ability to press control and to swim. Let's go into the other F5 mode. Might be a little bit easier to see. And we have our swimming ability. So we can actually swim underwater, which is faster than the normal running. So this is your control as if you were running on land. So now we can swim underwater, which looks absolutely awesome. And it's nice to be able to get around a little bit faster underwater. So while we were underwater, we will move on to the next thing, which is bubble columns. Now these actually don't spawn right now. So yeah, you can make them yourself, but they don't spawn in their own locations. Now, if we break a block here, we have our magma block like this. So these bubble columns occur when there's a magma block in water. So if we place that here, I'm not sure. Oh, there we go. You can see we have a column of bubbles here. Now it does say that this is a good way to breathe without cheating the game mechanics. So I'm assuming if you do this in survival mode, it will give you some air, but it does say you can be sucked down by it. So let's just go back into survival mode. Survival. There we go. And watch out because these things are going to start attacking in a minute. So this, if I come on here, I can't actually swim away, so you have to be really careful. If I try and swim over this, it will suck me down towards the magma block. So they can be dangerous and they can help you out. So I think it's going to be one of those things you have to kind of come up this high to get through and get some air. So there we go. You can see the air filled up there, but it does suck me down a few blocks at the same time. So that is the magma block and the bubble columns. So the next thing while we are underwater again is, as you can see all around us, the kelp and seagrass that has been added. Now these tall ones are kelp, and if you break these you can see it will drop kelp on the floor. We can pick some of this up and we have kelp in our inventory there. Now you can also dry these out and get dried kelp. If we head up to the shore, I have some over here, so as you can see. So we have kelp and dried kelp, and then we have the dried kelp block. Now at the minute the kelp doesn't generate in deep oceans, but it does say that that is temporary, and to get the dried kelp you just have to put kelp into a furnace, and then obviously 9 kelp for a dried kelp block. And then we've got the seagrass, which generates in all oceans, but it does say that is temporary as well. So all this is going to change a little bit in the future, but they are actually in the game now anyway. So the next thing is a slight change to one of our already existing things in the game. So we have our wooden logs that we get just from chopping trees down, and we can now strip these of the bark. So once you've got an axe in your hand, you can right click on the logs to actually remove the bark from them. So there we go. It gives us a whole new kind of texture and use. It's going to be really good for like making floors and things like that when you don't actually like the outside part of it. So these almost all look really, really nice and fancy. Now I'm not quite sure if we place it on its side, if it will give us another kind of texture. Let's just take maybe the acacia log and try that when we lie it this direction. It switches back to that way. So you can't actually have this side facing up. Don't know whether that's going to change into the future yet, but you can't really have it so the square section faces outwards like you can when you place the full log, which is a bit of a shame. And the next addition to the snapshots is the trident. So we have a new weapon, as you can see here. This is my trident, which looks really cool actually. And this is actually a throwing weapon or a melee weapon. So if you left click, you can hit like this, and then you can also press and hold the right click and throw it. As you can see, you throw it like that. Now I'm in creative mode at the minute, so obviously it doesn't disappear from my inventory, but if you've just got one of these things and you throw it, you do have to go and pick it up again. And at the minute it is unobtainable in survival, so you can only actually get it from creative mode. So I'm not quite sure how we're going to get this, whether it's going to be craftable or whether it's going to be a reward, you know, a treasure from something they're going to add at a later date. I'm not quite sure, but we'll see in the future how that is going to work. So for the trident there is 4 enchantments which we've got in here, and these are 4 completely new enchantments. So we have loyalty 3, well 1, 2 and 3. Now this one will ensure your trident comes back to you, so I think if you throw it, it will kind of have that, not really a boomerang effect, but it will come back into your inventory once you've thrown it. Then we have impaling, which has got 1 to 5, and it just says that this is very useful against creatures of the sea. So I'm assuming this is going to be like sharpness 5 or smite 5, but works really well on sea creatures. Then we have riptide, which just says gotta go fast. So I'm going to put all these on in a minute onto a trident, and we can try out to see what the different ones does. And then channeling, there isn't really any hint as to what that does. It just says we're not sure, it's pretty spooky, so I'm going to have a play around with that and find out what that one does. Okay, so now we've got all of our 4 new enchantments on here, and just channeling on this one here. So I'll show you the channeling enchantment first. Now this only works during a thunderstorm, so I've actually got the thunderstorm weather set, and with this one, when you use the right click ability and attack a mob with it, so you throw this at a mob, it will use the lightning from the weather to attack them as well. So I've got creepers here because this should be a really, really good way to get charged creepers. So let's test this out on this guy. Whoa. we've got a charge creeper. So let's switch on when we're just our channeling enchantment on. Charge creeper! So it's gonna be a lot easier to get charge creepers now. Oh, we missed. Let's try one more. That is a really, really cool enchantment. Now it does have to be the throw ability. You can't do it with the normal hit ability. That doesn't work. So that's the channeling enchantment. Now the next one we've got here is Riptide. So that is our speed one. So if I throw it here, right click, you can see it pulls me forward. And this also works in the water. You can throw it and it actually works even better in the water. As you can see, it gives us, especially if we're swimming as well, it gives us a big boost in the water. So if you need to get away really fast, that is the enchantment you need. So the next advancement we've got is loyalty. So I've got loyalty 3, and you can see when I throw this one, it kind of has a rope attached to it, which means it can come back. You can throw it really far away. It will take a little bit longer to come back, but you still do get that rope, and it brings it back to your inventory. And the last one is Impaling, which I've got Impaling 5, which works really well against sea creatures. And this, like I said, this is just like our Sharpness 5 on our sword. Now this actually, the Impaling can be put on swords as well. Doesn't have to just be on a Trident. So it can be on a sword, or I'm guessing an axe as well. So that is a enchantment that can be used on multiple things, whereas the other 3 enchantments are just for the Trident. So the final thing on this Snapshot brings us back underwater again. So they have changed the way items act underwater. So instead of us throwing an item in the water and it's sinking to the floor like it used to do, you can see now it will slowly float upwards. And it doesn't actually matter which item it is. It can be a heavy item like stone, or it can be wood. They all float upwards. And you can see here, I broke a load of the kelp down here. You can see it all floats on the top of the surface, which really, really helps now when you're dropping items. Again, when you're breaking things that are built over the water, makes it a lot easier for us to get the items from that. And the final thing is the changes to squid. Now, when you attack a squid, it will swim away, but the new changes actually make it a little bit different. So when you attack a squid now, as you'll see, it will squirt out a blob of ink at you before it swims away, and it has its own attack. It doesn't make it impossible to see when it swims away, but it makes it a little bit harder. You can see it gives us that kind of space texture there. Now, another thing that I've noticed that hasn't actually been written on the snapshot is that when there are mobs in the water around these kelp, they seem to get stuck in it. So there was a witch up there before. Let me just find a spawn egg. Let's just spawn if I can find a mob that's not a passive mob. Zombie, that's will do. So we spawn a zombie here in the middle of the kelp. Like that, you can see it gets stuck on it and it doesn't float to the surface like mobs usually do. And then if we break these around it, you can see it will float up to the surface again. Now that isn't actually written on the snapshot information. I discovered that kind of by accident, but I thought that was a little useful, a little interesting extra thing that we found on there. So that's all I've got time for today, guys. I will try and keep up with the snapshots as they come out and keep you guys updated as soon as possible. So thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to leave a like if you did like the video, and as always, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. I'll see you guys next time.